A Mobster's Midrash by Michael Diamond. Chapter 4, Under Mount Sinai. The approach to revelation is legion, peculiar at best, idiolectic at worst. Each soul imprisoned in its own private language, solipsistic hallucination, the mixed multitude showered in synesthetic phantasmagoria, translated on the hoof by invisible agents of etheric communication. On the hoof, yes, as in peculiar, pertaining to cattle, ancient marker for private wealth. That which is not you, but which you most highly prize, that which is most likely to be rustled by a covetous neighbor or tribe, most ancient divinity. Speaking of cultural appropriation, what if you steal your neighbor's revelation of all the brazen acts? Much more so to enslave those very stolen visions for unwholesome ventures, subject them to a peculiar institution, as the Union's detractors once referred to their own abominable practice of chattel slavery. One should no more hitch his neighbor's revelation to the plow of one's own devising than he should do the same with his neighbor's child. My God, or perhaps our God, would be more accurate, even though one's peculiar take on that notion might indeed lead her to a sense of ownership, maybe not entirely mistaken, and that the whole crowd that receives revelation forms some sort of spiritual co-op, each soul a buy-in on her own terms with the collective. Or maybe it's more akin to the union of the vegetal world, a shared revelation courtesy of kindly fungal angels weaving their mycorrhizal spell. At the first clap of thunder, we commence commensalism, shared minds feeding at the same table, worshipping at the same altar, the ultimate refinement of manna, a spirit meal that comes in every imaginable bespoke flavor, the flash without the pain, a meal that leaves no scraps to be schlepped into the future, a new nomenclature for nomadic noetics. Could we have done without the bureaucracy? 70 judges judging, 12 chieftains chefing? A casual suggestion from the father-in-law, the superfluous man, the extra on the set, sets 10,000 file cabinets filing, the whole corrupt court in endless motions within motions, an eternal Ptolemaic logic machine. With that comes choice, to be a part or to be apart. Who would care? The founding mythology, the bits left out, and the bits added in, the missing gland, a moratorium on the aging of children, the call of the vineyard, a jumbled-up collection of problems masquerading as solutions. Can we rest assured by such chimerized visions? We are all of us at the mercy of thieves. So you may ask, what am I, namesake of the great goddess, possessor of the secret name of Ra, I of universal age, most powerful moll of the entire infernal syndicate, what am I doing here at the edge of the wilderness known as Central Park, staring at the backside of Mount Sinai Hospital? I feel its hallucinatory pull. Confession before revelation. I'm stealing Moishie Levy's revelation. At least the feel of it. The momentum. Yes, I'm stealing. Pretty people, don't you tell on me. I'm stealing back to my same old used to be, my eternal lover, Osiris, my man of many parts, 15 to be exact. Hush! Keep it on the QT. The tribe heads may not approve. Call it idol worship. I must reverse engineer the work of disassembly. I must get my hands on the Wurlitzer. So it is that I happen upon Isis, a little girl dressed up as an old lady who was really a top syndicate moll, talking to herself whilst pendulating upon a garden swing. She had secreted her person in a small playground just across Fifth Avenue from Mount Sinai Hospital, gently rocking back and forth, heel to toe, muttering these words to no one in particular. Something's going down in her world, so I step back into the shadows as I gather intel. Sandy, and by implication Naki, need a pair of eyes on the ground, and that's me. The Wurlitzer, what is she talking about? We had all seen it parading through Central Park flanked by Boaz and Joaquin. A beautiful antique piece of junk that had been shoved into some oubliette at Triple P. The old AV supply closet. I can see it now, gaudy memento of a simpler time, a time when the only conjuring was the next dance tune. No CCTV in that rat's nest, oh well. I did see some footage of an old charwoman fiddling with the door. Say, now maybe... At least now I know what to keep an eye peeled for. I just need to figure out why. What does she say? Reverse engineer the work of disassembly? Disassembly of what? Whoa, no. It's whom? Of course, her eternal lover. But what the hell does the Wurlitzer have to do with resurrecting Ossie? I mean, maybe some of these old tunes could definitely raise the dead. Go figure. My plan is to keep a sharp eye on Sis, and, in the meantime, abide. It's 3 a.m., the time when the morning cortisol rises and the faint of heart give up the ghost. Every ER doc knows that. So it looks like that's exactly the time we'll be rolling into Mount Sinai to meet our connection. Sandy says it's a shrink by the name of Dr. Rachel. Says it's all been preordained by the Ancient of Days himself, good old Naki. I can tell you the tribe heads are a mite tired of their diet of Dr. Brown's Schweppies and Necco wafers. I suspect they would not be so kindly disposed to the joker who thought of that perk. Even hospital cafeteria food would be preferable to most at this point. We'll see what Dr. Rachel has to offer. Nettie's on the other side of Fifth Avenue, fiddling with the gate behind the Guggenheim Pavilion. Moishie and the tribe lead the whole pack of tribe heads in a madcap dance out the 99th Street exit from Central Park. The guys in funny hats have packed up their Macy's parade and taken it on the road to parts unknown. The pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud have done their work and vanished into air. Metatron and company are nowhere to be found. Sandy is bringing up the rear as usual, herding stragglers and all variety of lost sheep. 2 by 2, the tribe heads troop behind Moishie and the band, an assorted family across the avenue, Fifth Avenue. Not a one in an Easter bonnet. Not a photographer in sight. Not a photograver to be had. Except the one imprinted in my mind forever. What a happy lot. Trucking, pogoing, sashaying, waltzing, boogalooing, doing whatever it took to cross a la rue in high style. Geez, I wish life was just that easy breezy. But for the moment, the boys were playing low and slow, covering a 10-year-old soul tune as a reggae ballad at 3/4 speed. Sam and Dave's immortal number was never so soulful as this. Auntie Mim crooned the lyrics like a torch song straight out of Kingston. Don't you ever be sad, leaning on me when times are bad. When the day comes and you're down in a river of trouble and about to drown, just hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. And so on in a lazy, pulsing rhythm, luscious sax harmonies, 600 pairs of hands clapping in syncopated rhythm as Mimi blows them all away with her sensuous vocals. They had crossed that river, and in it drowned the troubles that dogged their trail, only most of the heads had no clue as to the mortal danger that had courted them. Some courtships end badly. In melancholy solitude, the suitor barely a blip on the screen. Kinda like Icarus in Antwerp's harbor. Speaking of Daedalus, you should have seen the gizmos in that hospital, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In all the hullabaloo, I lose sight of Sis. Damn. No doubt she'll turn up again. Nettie and Sandy and I all have our eyes out for her. As Sandy comes up behind the last pair of stragglers, we dare to walk arm in arm across the avenue, Fifth Avenue. Naturally, we go in the delivery entrance, delivered as we all are. The place is a real rat warren, all winding corridors, bare light bulbs, and dozens of unmarked doors, boxes and crates piled hither, thither, and yon. The heads barely notice as they sleepwalk down the hall, still humming, "Hold on, I'm coming." I have a flash of paranoia, like we walked into a trap. But Sandy is totally copacetic, so I take a chill pill. No sense worrying about what you don't know. The kicker is most of what's out there falls directly under the category of what you don't know. Along for the ride. Just as it seems we can go no further, we turn a corner, and there are the two most ginormous freight elevators I have ever seen. Each one manned by a wizened old dude in some kind of captain's getup, braided cap and all. Two giant maws open vertically, beckoning us to enter the belly of Leviathan or Moby Dick or Tiamat or whatever. Monsters of the deep. It takes 10 trips to get us all down to the sub-basement, our alleged destination. Again, Sandy's cool. So I am too. Place gives me the creeps. The last to arrive, we join the ring of 600-odd bodies that surround a massive central chamber to which we have as yet not been granted entry. Maybe it's late and I'm sleep-deprived, but I swear the wall has a pulse. Then a voice, which I can only presume is Doc Rachel's, blares overhead. "Prepare for departure. Jettison all redundant memory. Throw caution to the wind. Expand cranial capacity. There will be a transient increase in demand. Invisible energy shunts wide open. Ready the anti-concussors. Set the tension on the ligamentous shock absorbers partway between mighty oak and weeping willow. Don't forget to floss. Every nerve on end. Crank up the field sweeteners. Reposition the strange attractors. Help is always on the way. Around the bend. Next door. Loose the defenders that they may wend their way to the celebration of birth trauma. Bang tambourines. Blow trumpets. Distract voracious Father Time. This baby will not be consumed before its expiration. Throw open the cabinet of oddities. Pop every cork. Unbind the lockers of the deep. Kick off your shoes. Break the seal on the seventh wonder. Drop your drawers. The time is nigh for the loss of everything. Everything that matters, or doesn't matter. Willy-nilly, woolly-bully, hey-bop, a rebop, wonka-wonka splat. This chick is trippy. Suddenly, a door slides up every 6 feet around the circumferential hallway, and the tribe heads and company ooze into the neighboring space. The liquid glow of 1,000 lava lamps of every size, shape, and hue rims a cavernous hall in the bowels of Mount Sinai Hospital. Top to bottom, every wall floods with the emanation of a monstrous array of black lights that covers the entire ceiling, pulsing in irregularly regular waves that crisscross the surface, never the same wave twice. A galaxy of disco balls, mothers and babies and grandmothers and great-grandmother disco balls, dangle in the skies above, dancing shards of light in a million trajectories. A bank of video projectors hidden in a random assortment of recesses to the 6 directions shows forth from each radiant a languid display of iterating, evolving, and overlapping matrices of dots, lines, and curves. Beneath it all, the steady hum of an armada of woofers, tweeters, and subwoofers embedded throughout the massive polygonal chamber, fading in and out, a rich mix of Brian Eno, Steve Reich, Terry Riley, Johannes Pachelbel, Keith Jarrett, Eric Satie, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Electric Kool-Aid optional. The phantasmagoria well understeam, Moishie Levy shepherds the 70 elders of the tribe heads onto a scaffold that spirals around the circumference of Mount Sinai's occult heart, halfway to the ceiling, to a platform of glass brick. Brilliant sapphire suffuses the bricks and wows everybody. Pretty cool, I got to admit. Always responded to that color. Moishie and Brother A are nigh unto a state of unmitigated bliss, when a hidden panel slides up to reveal an alcove in which is seated, before a green velvet-lined card table bejeweled with all assorted edibles, none other than Naki himself, a.k.a. Enoch, a.k.a. Metatron, a.k.a. the Ancient of Days. A very rare appearance indeed. Naki bestows an honest-to-God smile upon the assembled elders who stand in awestruck wonderment. The Ancient of Days breaks the silence as he gestures to his largesse upon the table. "You see, you got your wheat thins and your Triscuits and your cars Table water for the sophisticates. Over here, a bowl of seedless grapes, some boursin, some Jarlsberg, and a bit of la vache qui rit for those of you who aren't gun-shy about cows. An inside joke only Moishie and Brother A were privy to. A somewhat embarrassing episode best forgotten. Some ways back, when Moishie disappeared from Triple P for a prolonged interval, seeking the 411 on future gigs for the tribe, he comes back and finds Brother A leading a rave with a group of wannabes, the Golden Calf. Little did he know that ISIS had a hand in that one. Boy, was Moishie pissed. Didn't talk to Brother A for a week. Thinned out the tribe heads a tad as well, a forced choice. But that's an eternity ago, and everybody's blissed out right now. Naki has a twisted sense of humor for sure. The 70 elders suddenly, 201, have a wicked case of munchies. They fall upon the wheat thins and Triscuit. Sated and still blissified, the 70 elders trundle their way back down to the mosh pit whilst Moishie remains for a tete-a-tete with the Ancient of Days. "Moishie," the old one begins, "you know why we're here, right?" Moishie pauses from grinning and pogoing in place for a moment. "Why, Chief?" Naki shakes his head in exasperation. "'Cause Rami Deuce and Killer Seth tried to rub yous all out, every last blessed tribe head, and you and your adorable little family to boot. Jeez, don't you get it? We, and I mean you, are on the lam. Gotten the hell out of Dodge. Split that popcorn stand. El scramolad. Capiche?" Moishie, still retaining a scooch of bliss, ponders the gravity of the Metatronic pronouncement. After a long pause, Moishie smiles his 1,000-kilowatt smile, cocks his head at Naki, and opines, "They didn't get us. And now they're liquidated. Cool runnings, nah?" Enoch, Ancient of Days, Metatron, draws his weary self to his full height, which is unimaginably tall, especially in the trippy atmosphere of this basement cave in Mount Sinai Hospital, and gives Moishie a withering look that even the ever-ebullient prophet of pop couldn't entirely shake. "Moishie, my son, my naive little boychick, now who do you suppose ordered the hit on all of yous? Think about it very carefully before you answer me." Moishie was more than slightly buzzkilled, squats on the glowing sapphire brick floor, and ponders the imponderable. Slowly wagging his dreads side to side, a hint of a tear at the corner of his eye, he looks up at Enoch, the Ancient of Days, Metatron, and is only able to utter one word. "Why?" Naki sighs the sigh of 10,000 years, the sigh that no one, with the possible exception of Sandy, can comprehend. Moishie gathers his wits. "Why, Naki? Why would she do that?" The only one with the firepower to override Naki, the Russian bitch, Ayn Soeff, or so he presumed. She had muscled in on every operation starting in Brighton Beach and spread south and west like a wine stain over the entire tablecloth of the North American continent. Rumor has it that she had the rest of the planet covered years earlier. Why can't she just leave us in peace? What is a little fly speck like me to an all-powerful mob moll like her? Look at that. Moishie gestures to the tribe heads undulating below in the mosh pit. These bliss puppies wouldn't hurt a flea. So harmonious and full of love. Can't she see that? Gazing down, he spots the drivers of the 4 Mustangs of the apocalypse, leading rings of celebrants in slow motion eddies across the floor. Couples nestle in the shadows, making love. Groups of 3 or 4 or 10 sway with each other to the music, so many palms on the shores of Revelation. Children giggle as they chase after shards of light that play off every surface. Naki pulls his toothpick out of his mouth and stabs a cube of Jarlsberg. Above my pay grade, boy chick. Thing is to keep moving, and don't look back. We're good here. As soon as the tribe heads cross the East River, all will be copacetic for them. I got a good feeling about that. You just keep your eye on the ball, and every little thing is gonna be all right. A slight grimace at his attempted musical reference was the best Enoch could offer in the way of reassurance, not exactly a font of emotional expression. Moishie, 1 foot poised to descend the palace of sapphire brick, turns to Naki. "Say, I noticed you only mentioned the tribe head's going to cross the East River. As much as I love myself, I am not counted among my own followers. The heads, you know? I and the tribe are one. We're blood. But the tribe heads are another thing, right? Are you telling me something underneath your mysterious radar?" Naki grimaced his ersatz smile again. "Moishie, you and Brother A and Sister Mimi will not cross, and that's a fact. For you, the Hudson River and the East River, the River of Deliverance and the River of Promise are one. Manhattan is the end of the line for you guys, capiche? But like I said, every little thing is going to be all right. It's all arranged with Pisgah Records. Just show up. You've already been signed. The mountain of revelation and the mountain of transmigration are one, at least as far as the elder Levy sibs are concerned. Have your epiphany, your razzle-dazzle kickline, your smash-bang fireworks finale, then it's sayonara, baby. The moving walkway has come to an end. The you that you thought was you is no longer. Poof. Simple fact. That's the message Moishie takes away for Naki. Pisgah Records, who ever heard of them? But a pronouncement from Metatron was not to be gainsaid. Metatron, Enoch's battle name. No mistaking it. There's a war in the upper echelons of the syndicate, and Moishie is in the dark, just dawning on him that he is a mere pawn. But he's not going to lay that heavy trip on the rest of his people, though Brother A will definitely read it on his face. No, he's going to walk down the spiral scaffolding with dignity and aplomb, and the seeds of a plan. As Moishie's foot touches the floor of the cavernous chamber, the tribe heads morph around him, iron filings to a magnet. Then he's airborne. A sea of hands and arms and fingers and the occasional shoulder urges him one way and then another, rudderless and at home, nowhere to go but everywhere. As Moishie's body wanders, so does his mind. A multitude of thoughts and images surge in and out of his awareness unbidden. Too late for notebooks. The singer forsakes the beach for the waves. A swarm of bees. Who lives? What lives? What dies in its place? Poppies versus daffodils. The return of the abducted. A mysterious ritual to exorcise death contamination. A red cow with no more than 3 white hairs. Ashes, ashes. Who prepares the water of lustration himself contaminates. Forced outside. The neurosis of the studio versus the glory of the vineyard, the colossal power of splitting, a talking ass, whence cometh the muscle of 5th column, the 2 pillars, secret support, download the system, out of the vortex, awake and do not drown, the wiring in the house is old, dying for lack of a queen, the mice are all powerful. Gravity and the gradual release of hands lowers Moishie to the floor, and a small clearing forms around him, rimmed with love. It's overcoming, all those smiles and hands on hearts. His thoughts clear as he stands before his people, knowing their future and his will diverge. Brother A knows something's not quite kosher, but he's too far from Moishie to lean over and get the 411. Mimi, too. People, he begins. The place has been traced and incised and carved in stone. You will be moving on from here across the East River to Queen, where our ancestors are buried. It will be your task, under the faithful leadership of delivery boy and dog, nodding to the 2 not-so-young youths, to bury the body of Papa Joey, as we promised these many years, to bring him home. A murmuring breaks out amongst the assembled multitude. Looks of worry and concern cross many a face. I see you are apprehensive, but people don't worry, 'cause the heads sing the end of his sentence. Every little thing is gonna be all right. Yes, he nods. That is the truth as we carry it. I am passing the mantle of leadership on to delivery boy. He will be true to his name and deliver you all to the place, as promised. But it is up to you to make it a good place, a righteous place, and I know you will. I and Brother A and Sister Mimi must remain on this island of Manhattan. We have other business here that I am not at liberty to share with you at the moment. People, get ready, for the day will come for us to say goodbye. But you know deep in your hearts that—" His speech is interrupted by the general pointing of fingers in the air way above Moishie's head. Moishie swivels his neck upward and sees a glinting metallic object descending from the ceiling at a deliberate and steady pace. As it comes into view, he IDs it. A trapeze? It wends its way downward, midst the puzzled looks and whispers of the heads, until it comes to rest just at the level of Moishie's waist. There is a message inscribed on the seat that, after close inspection, Moishie reads aloud, "Sit down, now." It seems a rather forceful message, but Moishie is unafraid. All part of Naki's plan, nah. He waves aside his people's apprehension and reassures them, "I always wanted to try one of these things, so here we go." With a casual hop, he seats himself on the contraption and immediately whisks upward. "Oopsie-daisy." He smiles and gives the crowd a playful royal wave as twin chains, catching random shards of light in their skein, pull him ineluctably into the black light. A trapdoor opens in the ceiling between the fixtures. From the smoke-filled haze of the chamber's heights, through dense black light, Moishie is hoisted into pitch darkness as he hears the trap close behind him. Utter silence. Then a flood of unbearable brilliance. Moishie shields his eyes. A voice, a sultry Russian voice. "Hello, Moishie," she says. "You came for a revelation, no?" Moishie's voice sticks in his throat. "Cat got your tongue, my tongue-tied little boy chick." With a heroic effort, Moishie takes a deep breath and issues speech from his lips. No, Your Majesty, Your Highness, Your Omnipotence, just a bit of dry throat." He coughs. "Perhaps my little darling would like a sip of vodka?" She gives a throaty laugh as a tumbler of clear liquid appears on a small table lowered in front of him. He stares. "Go ahead. It's fresh spring water, really good, not poisoned." She assures him. After some hesitation, he reaches out from his perch upon the trapeze and grasps the glass and takes a tentative sip. A subtle sweetness and a faint hint of salt dance across his unencumbered tongue. It is good. "Good. It's the best. Straight from Ural Mountains." A couple of gulps make it past his tongue and down his gullet. "You're probably wondering what a powerful mob moll like me wants with a little fly speck like you, no?" Moishie is slightly alarmed to hear his own words coming from her mouth, but then he figures she must have talked to Naki, some kind of intercom system, no doubt. He rocks himself back and forth a bit, mostly nerves. "Yes," says he, "that's exactly what I was wondering. Why did you arrange the hit on us? And what does Dogface have against us? We've got no beef with him. I thought we handled Ramidus, but obviously not in a permanent way. That's not our style, you know. The tribe and the heads, we believe in one love. We made him welcome in our club. Then he turns around and tries to rub us out. Not very nice. Love, that's our message. We gave him a big tribe head hug." "I know," says she. Sounded like she was stifling a laugh. "I knew you would. I know every move before anybody makes it, boy chick. I also knew Naki and Sandy would liquidate, as you so cleverly described it, Dogface and Ramidus. Even they didn't know I knew it. Plausible deniability. Keeps everybody on their toes. That's how I like my angels, on their toes, especially the fiery ones." Angels. Kinda weird. No, I like Sandy and all, and he's tight with Naki, but never in 10,000 years would it occur to me to call them angels. Kinda dark angels, I guess. Pretty sure Moishie had the same thought. Moishie squints at the brightness, but still sees only the blinding light. "Look, Bugala," she continues. "It's both simple and complicated. It's simple that I make all the plans, and everybody does what I say, if they know what's good for them. It's complicated that I don't let anybody in on all the detail. Not anybody, capiche? I keep my maps folded and in my valise. I have one set of plans for your entourage of hippie Rasta ska punks, or whatever you call them, and another trajectory in mind for you and your brother and your sister. That's just the way it has to be. By the way, you should know I founded Pisgah Records, so of course it's guaranteed to be a big success. Don't sweat it, darling. More suppressed laughter from somewhere inside the radiance. Moishie's head spins, gyrates, and loop-de-loops with the rush of new thoughts, ideas, images, plans. His own little plan, unwatered and unfertilized, remains in seed form, far from blossoming into a luxurious plant. The only thing that distinguishes a plan from a plant is the letter T. Tea. Yes, he thinks to himself. That will be the ticket. My family's special recipe. 13 herbs makes you see the face of God. No one sees my face and lives, sweetheart, the voice says. What? Moishie is really nervous now. You heard me right, boy chick. I can't afford to have just anybody running around thinking they can make me. Not smart, you know. Moishie knows Ayn Soeff is one powerful mobster, but really a bit grandiose even for her pay grade. Moishie, I do not have a pay grade. Who would pay me? I take what I need and distribute the rest as I see fit. You doubt me, I see. Moishie tries to censor his thoughts, blank them all out. Look, I'll show you something very few beings in this world of yours get to see, the voice continues. Just stare directly ahead into the light. Moishie cannot help but do as he's told. Some technician or other flunky adjusts the level of brightness, the contrast, or some parameter of the overwhelming radiance that surrounds him and permeates his every cell. Then he sees it, the faintest outline of something. A person, a piece of furniture, a cloud form. He can't quite get it into focus. Don't try so hard, Moishie. Use your imagination. That's how it works. Relax. See whatever you'd like to see. A femme fatale, a pair of fishnet stockings and spike heels, a long black trench coat, and a broad-brimmed hat reveal a shock of platinum waves and a steely glint of blue. But all from behind, not a glimpse of her full face. Wow! And what can only be a galoise smoldering in a long onyx cigarette holder with gold rims at either end, held by the most elegant hand he's ever seen or imagined, adorned with blood-red nails. Man, oh man, Moishie thinks to himself, that's one badass bitch. You got that right, sonny boy. I see you appreciate the view, the voice says to him. No disrespect, ma'am, stutters Moishie, having just realized once again that she hears every thought in his head. What is the tech for that? None taken, sweetheart. No tech, just natural ability. She purrs. The brightness ramps back up to the max, and his visual field goes blank. Showtime's over, big boy. That was what I call my parade of mercies. Hope you enjoyed the show. Then someone pulled the plug. Utter darkness. A dim glow filters up from the floor below the trapeze as the trapdoor opens and a barely audible dynamo hum accompanies Moishie in his descent. Through black light, then smoke-filled haze. It's not until his feet hit the floor that he realizes he's holding a scrolled-up wad of paper in his right fist. He unscrolls the wad before the watchful eyes of the surrounding crowd of awed tribe heads. The letters on the page swim into focus as he sees it's one of the village tabloids. Stoned Tabloid Press, circulation 600. A new rag, he guesses. Then his eyes fairly pop out of his head as he reads the banner. Moishie Levy and the tribe to headline Gertie's Folk City. The words cross his lips as if they don't belong to him. A slip of paper drops to the floor from between the pages. He picks it up. Damn, it's a playlist. All their best tunes, and some covers they haven't yet worked out but are right up their groove. Moishie shakes his head slowly and then stares at the ceiling and mouths, "Thank you." Moishie and the tribe sweep Manhattan. No doubt having 600 advanced scouts and patrons paves the way quite handily, every one of them a paid-up subscriber to Stone Tabloid Press. And a recording label, Pisgah Records, pumping out the hits doesn't hurt either. Some mysterious somebody persuaded the DJs who needed a little extra convincing to play the tunes from this hitherto unknown label. A little muscle, a little payola, whatever it took. The word spreads beyond Manhattan, beyond the 5 boroughs, across state lines, and eventually to the great Pacific Ocean. Stone Tabloid Press takes on a slightly slicker vibe and obtains distribution throughout the lower 48. Where went Stone Tabloid, the tribe and all the heads were soon to follow. Cool run-ins, as Moishie likes to say, and run they did. They wandered the map of the entire North American continent in 1976. They played the Roxy in L.A., Paramount in Oakland, a long run at Paul's Mall in Boston, sweet little place with a lot of history. Sandy and I got away for a little FaceTime there, down on the Cape. P-Town was a trip. They also hit the Tower Theater in Philly, Quiet Night in Chicago, the Agora in Cleveland, Showcase in Motown, then Toronto, Miami, and a bunch of other gigs I'm probably forgetting. The local tabloids rocketed the story into the stratosphere. Tribe conquers L.A., and Moishie and the boys take Boston by storm, and Tribe heads invade Chicago. It was intense. Nettie and I monitored the back and front doors at every stop. No sense in taking any chances, but it was a love fest wherever the tribe went. Nearly made a believer out of me. Don't get me wrong, they had their squabbles, only human. But overall, it was an amazing run. The gigs kept coming like manna from heaven. The mainstream rags called it a phenomenon and tried to analyze the hell out of it. All I can say is as long as they had the gas, they stayed on the road. Then all of a sudden, the tank was empty. Right as the lights go out on the Madison Square Garden gig, something changes, something in the air, something goes away, rather, somebody. Hard to come down from that kind of high. 20,000 people makes the air crackle with an electric current that just won't stop. I'll never forget their final tune, the last one the tribe will play together, as it turns out. If I Forget You, Zion, had all 20,000 up on their feet swaying and singing along. Moishie and Mimi's harmony was never tighter, unbearably sweet. Along the way to the top, they had picked up a lead guitarist that killed, a soulful gal on the Hammond B3, a very chill bass-playing chick, and a truly badass percussion dude. Nothing else like it out there. Lights come down on thunderous applause. But when the lights come back on and the crowd cranks up, Moishie, Brother A, and Mimi are AWOL. The rest of the band is without a clue, but they cover as best they can. Lights off, and it's tribe-head pandemonium. Of course, the first person they all run to is my pal Sandy, Fat-Face Andalphon Old Man P, as known to the original tribe heads. I say original because Tribe Head Nation has grown by leaps and bounds. They could populate a small city. A handful of determined heads finds him down in the dressing room. Nettie and I fend off the crowd. All right, now all of yous calm down. Old Man P grunts as he hoints his bulk out of the ridiculously small chair upon which he rests his capacious bottom. He scowls and scans the sorry lot of tribe heads that stands before him and has mercy. Now think back. Remember Mount Sinai? They nod slowly, but still piteous in their confusion. Well, right after Moishie descends the palace of sapphire brick, after the crowd surfing, he gives a nice little speech. Many heads nod. Well, he gave yous all a clue about the future, what the future had in store for the whole lot of yous. He waits for some sign of dawning consciousness. Having received none, he plows on. Moishie foretold an eventual parting of the ways, a fork in the road, an unavoidable split up. Still nothing from the nonplussed heads who crowded into the dressing room. Then a light goes on in one pair of eyes, a sad little hippie chick, sitting in lotus position on the floor. She looks up and lets out one keening wail. We've lost our Moishie for good. A collective intake of breath as all heads swivel in her direction. "Now that old man P says it, I remember," she continued. "Said he and Brother A and Mimi would stay behind in Manhattan while we were all supposed to cross the East River into Queens. Geez, it all happened so fast. I thought at least we'd have a chance to say goodbye." A general murmuring and susurration ensues amongst the heads. The sad little hippie chick isn't finished. "Wait, didn't he say something about delivery boy taking over? Where is that dude?" She employs anyone who cares to answer. From subtle background noise to thundering crescendo, a chant rumbles through the warren of hallways and corridors beneath Madison Square Garden. Up at street level, thousands of patrons mill about the half-empty auditorium, perplexed. What happened to Moishie, Brother A, and Mimi? Then the wave breaks the surface, and the disarrayed crowd is engulfed in a single thundering voice. "Delivery boy! Delivery boy! Delivery boy!"